Hey, Warrior fans, this is Scott again. Just an ordinary man, but an extraordinary fan. Feeling much better today than I did yesterday. Look at this. The Warriors are just half a game behind the Spurs and the Grizzlies once again, without them doing anything. So, now, of course, they would have had sole possession of the A spot had they won. But again, let's try to get the bad vibes out of our system so we can move forward. And we will do that today and this evening. So let's take a look at the standings. So as I just mentioned, you can see, again, the Warriors just half game behind that ninth and eighth spot that has been challenging for them for a few weeks now, to say the least. But look at the Trailblazers. Trailblazers were falling fast. They were 2-8 in the last 10 just a few games ago. Now they've won 2 in a row, and after winning 2 in a row, they're just a half a game behind the Mavericks in the 6th spot. That's amazing. They're only 2 games behind the Lakers for the 5th spot. So the Trailblazers are far from out of it. Again, if they could go on a streak. Now in the last 10, they're 3-7, but 2 of those 3 they just won back to back. They lead the Grizzlies, of course, by 2.5 games, as well as the Spurs by 2.5, and the Warriors by 3. And as you can, well, you may actually don't see it here, but the Pelicans are 4 games behind the Warriors. Thankfully, to that last-second loss at the hands of Denver last night. And I'll be taking a look at that and showing you some highlights from that and how that game ended here shortly. Okay, so as mentioned, let's take a look at 3 games from last night that are impactful to the Warriors. First, we'll be taking a look at the Spurs and the Heat game. The Heat beat the Spurs 116-111, and then we will look at the some highlights, I should say, from the Trailblazers and the Grizzlies. Trailblazers took care of business, 130-109, and then we will wrap it up with the Nuggets and the Pelicans, and we'll look at the highlights from the last minute of that game, where the Nuggets won at 114-112. And keep in mind, while you're watching these highlights from that game, the Pelicans were down by 10 points with a little over a minute left. So it was a heck of a comeback, and they had an opportunity with literally 2 seconds left, and Zion had his hands on the ball under the bucket. It was an amazing finish to the game. So here are the highlights from the Spurs and the Heat, as promised. And as I mentioned, this is from the end of the game. I'm going to just go over some stats real quick as you enjoy the highlights. The Spurs shot 46.6% from field goal percentage, and the Heat shot almost 51%. Three-pointer percentage, the Heat shot 36%, while the Spurs shot 31%. So nothing outstanding there. The Heat shot 87%, made 21 out of 24 free throws, and the Spurs made 19 out of 24 for 79%. Rebounds, total rebounds, 40 for the Spurs, 48 for the Heat. And points in the paint. The Heat got 60 points in the paint, while the Spurs could just get 44. Turnovers pretty even, 9-12, with the Heat having 12. But yeah, that is about it. It's a pretty close game. So now, as promised, I am, you can see in front of you already playing is or are some highlights from Portland versus the Grizzlies. So I will go over some stats as you take a look at those. Real quick, field goal percentage. Portland was 45 for 92 for nearly 49%. The Grizzlies were 37 for 88 for only 42%. 3-point percentage, 37.5% for the Blazers. So not fantastic. They were 15 for 40. However, the Grizzlies were 9 for 32. So they left a lot out there, 28.1%. They both shot in the high 80s in terms of free throws. Rebounds 51 to 44, very close. Assists were very close. Turnovers were basically even, 10 and 11 respectively. Points in the paint were even. So the biggest difference was the 3-point percentage, the efficiency, and the number of points as a result. So as promised, here are the highlights from the Pelicans and the Nuggets. And as you can see, it's with less than 30 seconds left to go in the game. It is extremely exciting. You should definitely take a look at this last play right here. Drop off to Zion, gets blocked by the Joker, by Jokic, and that ended
Didn't have a chance
the game.
to just go through the team stats real quick on that game, but it was very even. The Pelicans, as you can see, played really hard, and as I mentioned earlier, they were down by roughly 10 points with just barely over a minute left, as I recall. So they made a heck of a comeback. I want to say they hit 3 threes in that last minute, if I'm not mistaken. And Ingram with a tremendous drive and a dish to Zion, who 9 times out of 10 is going to be able to finish that play. But Jokic, that man is challenging, whether it be on offense or defense. And even after looking at the replays, there was no foul there, and it was a good, clean block. Fortunately for us Warrior fans, Denver was able to overcome. And again, looking at the stats, very even. Field goal percentage, 49% to 50%. 3-pointers is the biggest difference, but it really only amounted to 2 additional makes. So Pelicans hit 12 threes out of 30, whereas Denver hit 10 out of 32. So as a result, Denver only shot 31%. Pelicans shot 40% from 3-point, but it amounted to just 6 points more. Free throws, you see Denver made up for it there. They hit 18 buckets. Pelicans hit 14, but still relatively close. It was 78% to 73%. Total rebounds 42 to 38. Assists 27 to 26. Blocks 5 blocks to 8 blocks. Steals 13 steals to 14 steals. Turnovers 21 and 18. So holy smokes. And points in the paint 54 to 56. Very, very evenly matched overall. If you look at these the statistics, team stats on both of these teams. So the Pelicans, they are going after it. So for this reason, they're 4 games behind the Warriors, but they were right there. And as you could see, if Zion hits that bucket, goes into overtime, and then who knows what happens. The Pelicans were hot for that last minute. They had momentum going in, but it didn't. So we move forward, thankfully. And now we will look ahead to the Warriors' opponent today, which will be Minnesota. And let's take a look at that. So taking a look at these stats, Karl Anthony Towns is averaging 24.8 points. Beasley's 19.6. D'Angelo Russell is over 19 with 19.4. Anthony Edwards, the rookie, is at 18.3. And looking down further at total rebounds, 10.8 for Anthony Towns. And assist being led by Ricky Rubio, as always, with 6.5. And D'Angelo Russell getting over 5 assists a game. They score over 110 points a game on average, 110.6. And as we'll see here from the Warriors stats, that's just 2 points below them. Minnesota has a potent offensive squad, so this is not going to be an easy game by any means for the Warriors. Obviously, they are going to have to play well, obviously much better than they did the prior game, but they're going to have to meet their average and play very good, hard, stingy, and um, very energetic defense. They're going to have to get after everything. They're going to have to box out. Uh, Towns is a load. D'Angelo Russell, we know what he can do. Even for the short time he was with the Warriors. Anthony Edwards, that is a guy is a star in the making, potential rookie of the year, and they just have they got a solid young team who can put up some points. So tonight's game will be interesting. Let's take a look at the Warriors statistics. So as you can see, of course, Steph Curry leading the team with 31.2 points per game. He is nearly leading the league. I think he just fallen behind Bradley Beal again, if I'm not mistaken. But that they've been back and forth for a few weeks now. Andrew Wiggins at 17.9, Oubre at 15.4, Wiseman not playing. So let's talk about Poole 10.9, Pascal. Not sure if he's going to be back tonight or not, but he gives them roughly 10 points a game. And Bazemore and Damian Lee, who have been out, or who will continue to be out at this point, they combined are averaging about 13 points a game. Now, Draymond is averaging around 7 a game, but of course he's averaging nearly 7 boards and roughly 9 assists per game. So he is has to continue to give the Warriors lift. And then look at Juan Toscano Anderson, been playing a huge role for the Warriors, even though he's only averaging 5.2 overall in terms of 43 games played. He only averaged 18.7 minutes overall out of those 43 games, but with the other players out, when he plays more close to 30 minutes per game, his contributions are significant, to say the least. Even with the limited average number of minutes played, he's still pulling in 4 boards and getting 2.5 assists a game and getting half a steal. Draymond, by the way, 1.5 steals a game. And that's it as far as the stats go. Again, as mentioned, 112.9 average points per game. So almost 113 points a game is what they're averaging. And if everybody is on, so that means we need a very good game from Poole, and we need more than 11 points today. And I talk about Poole, and let me say that he is playing also when Bazemore and D. Lee are there. Poole's playing a facilitator role. He's coming in for Steph, playing point guard, so he's handling the ball, and a lot of his focus is setting his teammates up and trying to get them going as well. So that's why sometimes his points are diminished. But when he is, again, ultra aggressive offensively, that's when he is at his best by far. Ball in his hands and not hesitating. That's what we need tonight, as well as contributions from everybody. Okay, so that covers the Warriors versus Minnesota for tonight and sets us up nicely, which, by the way, that game is going to start in 15 minutes. Other key games tonight, Mavericks and Pistons. Mavericks should win that one rather easily. Pistons haven't played well really all year. And on paper, again, Mavericks should take that one. The Pelicans play again. They play the Thunder. That game is at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So that one could be of interest, certainly if the Warriors lose. And then that will set up the 3 games that the Pelicans and the Warriors have over the next 10, to say the least. But Warriors in Timberwolves, that's the key game. Warriors just need to take care of business. If they just do what they need to do for the remaining games, you don't really have to worry about anything else or anybody else for that matter. All right, so let's make sure tonight we see more of this. Thought it'd be good to show a little Peyton Jr., otherwise known as the Mitten. His dad was known as the Glove, son's name known as the Mitten. But look at these hops. I don't think many of us realized, look at that oop from Smilegeach, that he had this kind of vertical. But this young man can really play some defense. He can get after it. So let's see some more of that tonight. And obviously more of this from Mr. Curry, of course. And even though it was a horrible game against the Mavericks, for Steph, still shot about 50%. Still got 5 threes, as you can see from all these highlights. And with the devastating traps that they were putting against Steph, with big guys coming at him, a lot of length, he was still able to convert all of these buckets. I'm going to leave it on that positive note. The Warriors are getting started here shortly, and need positivity, positivity, positivity. Let's go Warriors. Kudos to all you Warrior fans out there for the continued support of our Bay Area team. I've been a fan, personally, I've never even talked about this, but I've been a fan since the early 70s when I was in high school. So, long-time fan, and it seems like we've all been through this roller coaster over the years. But glad to see them have a shot at getting back into the playoffs this year, and this is getting still very exciting. So let's go Dub Nation, let's go Warriors. Your fans are out here supporting you, and let's take care of Minnesota tonight. And all you fans out there, you take care of yourselves and stay healthy. And thank you once again for joining one more edition of Dubs Playoff Watch. Take care, everybody.